Welcome to the Truro and Colchester Chamber of Commerce Business Voice podcast. In the coming days, we will be hosting discussions with candidates from all three ridings in Colchester County to learn about their perspectives on issues presented through the lens of business. The Chamber represents more than 450 businesses in the Truro and Colchester region and has been the recognized voice of business for 131 years. Normally, when an election is called, we would welcome candidates to debates and town hall sessions. But this year, due to COVID-19 and public health restrictions, we have chosen to err on the side of caution and host one-on-one discussions with our candidates. Our members have had an opportunity to submit questions in advance on topics of importance to them. This series of podcasts for the 41st Provincial General Election are brought to you by the Nova Scotia Association of Realtors. Well, today we would like to welcome Janet Moulton, the NDP candidate for Colchester Musquodoboit Valley. So Janet, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's start off and please tell us about yourself.
Well, when I graduated from school, I was born in Newfoundland. I went to Memorial University and got my math degree in physics, and I was able to get a job there, starting in programming actually, on state-of-the-art computers, and then moving on to come to Nova Scotia and an equally competent job with an insurance company, and worked with, did analysis of data and programming as well, and solving problems for users. I have 3 children, and I have 4 grandchildren that now live within my town of Elderbank. So we moved there 30 years ago. We've had a wonderful life together there. I've been involved with the community quite a bit, and I have interests of things like food security is my interest in how it connects with farming. So I retired about 6 years ago, and now I'm ready to go because I have children who are in the school system, and we have problems with internet and things like that I want to address, and I feel this is where I should be right now. I ran before in 2017, but I hope to do a whole lot better now, and I've had that experience under me, and I really feel very strongly about this job. So I hope I get it so I can make a difference in people's lives.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So we poll our members on an ongoing basis so that we're aware of the issues that they're facing. And the questions that we're asking today are on topics of great importance to our members and the business community at large. Mm-hmm. So we'll start with, many of our businesses across every sector are experiencing a lack of human resources to fill labor gaps from skilled to unskilled labor. What is your party's plan to address this critical need to fill these employment vacancies?
Well, it just so happens I've spent a couple of decades teaching at the NSCC, the college, and in Halifax, and they have the ability to train for specialized skills. They're fairly flexible in terms of our 1, 2, or 3 year programs that gives students who are coming out of high school usually a chance to get a skill, obtain a skill. I taught in the business department, technology, all the way through, and I watched students grow from a high school environment to a working environment, and that was very meaningful to me. And if we have a skill shortage in the workplace, I believe that they're flexible enough to create those programs for the students so that they can get out, work in a good job with a good paying wage. Other things we're really interested in doing, especially if we depend on immigrants to come here and populate Nova Scotia, we have to provide them with some of the benefits that we had, such as healthcare. The other thing is affordable housing, so we're building houses that will be available to people who are underwaged.
Oh, good point about the housing, certainly. Another issue that our members have expressed that is directly tied to economic growth in this region, and it's having an impact on the overall health system, is physician recruitment. What is your party's plan to address this?
I think we have to have a buy-in by the universities who are training them in some way, that they can be guaranteed a job and that they can stay and not leave us as in the past we've done that. The recruiting of them, I think it should be done perhaps on a community level, so that it's enticing people to the community for what it is and the benefits that they have. Whereas when we have a very high-end, group of people who are looking for doctors, I'm not sure if they always get the message out of where the lovely places where they can live, where their children can grow up. And we have that benefit in Nova Scotia.
Great. Thank you for your answer on that. One of the things that is definitely on every business owner's mind is taxes. Nova Scotia has some of the highest taxes in Canada. Mm-hmm. We know that there were investments and help provided with COVID. Mm-hmm. It comes with a cost.
Yes.
So when these relief measures wind down, how will the debt be repaid?
Well, we believe that we need to create an economic recovery task force who would have the input from businesses and organizations that could give them advice about how we can build our businesses, and in that process stretch that out over a longer period than what's been suggested. So by taking $209 million and putting that as cuts in the near future is not long enough in our opinion. So that has to be stretched out over a longer time.
So something you touched on earlier was housing. Certainly an important asset in any community. With the purchase and rental housing supplies nearing a historic low in Nova Scotia, how will your party increase supply to ensure that there's a healthy housing mix?
Well, I think we have to encourage people to keep their lumbers in the province as opposed to sending them elsewhere, which has been happening. I live in an area with lots of people who have small mills and large mills, and they haven't always succeeded, and we've lost many big lumber production people. I think that once again, we can use our communities, knowing what we know about the people that are there who are already doing this, and they're trying to make a go of it, but we may need to support those people to start milling and doing the things that they need to do to provide that. We had trouble getting 2x4s for, not really trouble, but the cost of them were outlandish to put our signs up, which was really ridiculous. And we have lots of places that are producing that could be keeping that but they have to have a reason why they would provide that for us.
Okay, thank you for your answer on that. So the current procurement process by government makes it challenging for small business to compete. How will your party look at the current procurement process for government with a lens on increasing opportunities for Nova Scotia business of all sizes?
Well, I think we have to look at the procurement process because it hasn't particularly worked well. We've had over the past year stoppages at the borders. We haven't been working together with the other provinces, so we have different reasons why they can't go over the lines. And we need to improve that by including businesses and companies that are able to, secure the things that we need to get that procurement process going. We also need to do that by providing opportunities for small businesses, especially in the rural areas. We feel really that we've been left out of that question, and we need to be able to put in bids that include social issues as well, so people are also getting paid well enough to be able to pay for those things we need. We also should have a diverse workforce too, as well, and encourage people to join companies that are here and get involved in that procurement process. So those companies, those local companies, can be a source of the information that they need about how we keep it within our own boundaries of Nova Scotia.
So when you touched on a little bit about, working with the other provinces, current red tape and high costs for permits, granting permission for exporting products to markets outside Nova Scotia, is preventing local manufacturers and producers to reach new markets. How would your party simplify that process for out-of-province exports and improve the cooperation between provinces?
Well, we have to simplify the process. We need to focus on the idea we have is that we would, instead of have separate rules across the different provinces, we worked as a group during COVID. So the Atlantic provinces could be working together so that we have things that are similar and they're not just getting stopped at the border going over to New Brunswick, etc., and have those companies being involved with those decisions in the plan to get exports over the line, and also in terms of ensuring goods are getting that flow is continuous and it's not missing, the lack of. We don't want to have the lack of here because of those rules. And if the businesses were involved in that they would be able to make that procurement process, I think, more effective.
Wonderful answer. So in driving around the province of Nova Scotia, there's no doubt that there's need for greater investment in roads and our aging bridges.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your party's plan to ensure the trade enabling infrastructure for the movement of goods and services is done to, support our business community?
Well, I think certainly roads have to be safe to travel on. We feel that it needs to be not just the road considered, but the whole infrastructure around it. So it should have also the ability for bikes to be there and for people to walk safely on the sides of those roads. And one of the things that we plan to do is get rid of the tolls. So the Cobequid Pass there would not be held on the shoulders of just the people who travel through that. And it's spread all over whatever expenses they are, it's spread all over the province because we all use that highway. Other than that, with regards to a plan, I know we have plans that we see, but often there's not a lot of clarity in them. So we would have clarity in our plans and have a transparency so that we're not telling people that this is going to be done and it doesn't get done.
Great, thank you for that. Supporting a reduction of greenhouse gases and implementing environmentally friendly practices is necessary to build a healthy future. Mm-hmm. What supports and assisting in greening business will your party bring forward?
Well, I think in a way it goes back to the communities themselves and people buying things that are local, that are well managed. So it's not just, I'm buying from a lot owner, for instance, and that lot owner is abusing the ability to take wood off it. We don't want clear cutting going on. There may be times, but not generally. That's not a good thing. There's a rotation in woodlots that's right now 30 years. So a piece of property that it might be managed is generally 30 years. That's enough. That will really clear it after 30 years if it's not taken care of. And if you put that rotation to 90 years, that 90 years is going to allow us to have that large growth in the trees that will be the part of the solution for sequestering carbon dioxide in the future. So it's there for our children. So right now we have to make those difficult decisions about how we're producing things and doing them with the idea that we are protecting our forests and creating forests that's going to be there in 90 years that our children will be able to enjoy and then have the benefits of that with environmental things. And also situations like the Owl's Head issue providing large plots of land to Americans who have the money to buy it is interfering with our ability to protect our environment. So, we've been getting signatures and things like that with our group against the legislation that's going ahead there. A large golf course like that would hire people. It's seasonal and it's low-end jobs. There's no really skills that are needed that would give them a good pay. So, and that's only temporary, it's not year-round, and then that ownership prevents us as citizens to have access to those beautiful places and keep those birds alive and all the environment that's around them.
Great. Well, thank you so much for those answers. We've reached our time.
Okay.
So at this point, I guess I'll just ask Janet, what would you like to share in closing?
Well, I think that there's a few things here that I've missed in the sense of what we've done in the past has worked and it's been taken away from us. So things like the CECs, the Collaborative Emergency Centers, they worked 10 years ago. My husband died 12 years ago, and he had all the services that he needed in my community. Otherwise, I would have had to go to Truro or Halifax for him, and it could be the matter of life or death. Those CECs need to be brought back because my hospital is closed many weekends and nights because they don't have enough nurses, which also we need to encourage to join that. But they've been treated poorly, and as teachers have, and we don't have enough people to work in those places. And long-term care as well, I think it's important, really important, that we make that comfortable for our elderly and have the respect that they are awarded after a long life, that they should be comfortable in where they live. So that relates to infrastructure in the sense that building those things and hiring the trained students with the skills that can help people are very much our mandate. Yesterday, Gary Burrell and I spent some time with a gentleman in my community who is a professional musician, J.P. Cormier. And we've matched up with him so that we can get some support and we can support him. He's managed to get through this pandemic, but many artists haven't. He's done it because he's been creative. He's been fighting for a better internet, can't get it, has to pay, through the tooth on getting something that he can work with. It's not even working all the time. My kids went through school last year, and I really am looking forward to that fight because we need to invest in those infrastructures locally with co-ops or other types of things. But I believe that people should vote for me because I believe in what we need to do. It's a lot of grassroots stuff, but it's simple stuff, but it takes complex legislation to provide that. And we have to think longer term than 4 years. It's just not enough. But I have that passion. It's driven me to this stage, and I hope I'll make it to next week so we can have a good time and a big party.
The Chamber would like to thank all the candidates who made time in their busy schedules to come in and discuss important business issues with our Chamber, to bring these to our members in this format. We'd also like to give a huge thank you to our sponsor, the Nova Scotia Association of Realtors, who made these podcasts possible. We encourage everyone to get out and have your voice heard by voting in the election.